You are correct. That is a lot of oranges right there. Gary Gragg here, not wanting to be left behind by current fashion. I picked up my new Mexican hat, and you should soon notice that everybody will be wearing these. Like once I start wearing it, everybody does. So I love it though. Don't you like it? That's not what I'm here to talk to you about. I'm here to talk to you about my orange grove at my ranch in Winters. Here we are. This is a little bit north of Vacaville. It's west of Davis and pretty far west of Sacramento. And anyway, I bought this property through a series of real estate transactions. If you know anything about real estate, you'll know that you can hold on to all your profits as long as you don't actually take any money out ever. And so that's how I ended up with this place here. I was flipping homes during the recession when no one would buy plants from me, and eventually I got this place and rent the house out to somebody and use the grounds for all my gangster plant stuff. Anyway, you can even stay here on Airbnb. That's another story. You can look for it on the Winters Citrus Ranch Field of Dreams, because there's a baseball field I built right over there. That's pretty fantastic. The home run fence is our orange trees, and those are Valencia oranges that ripen in the summertime. They actually take 15, 16 months to really ripen up. They're just starting to get right now in March. It's been 1 year. They need a few more months to really get good. And then the trees I inherited here are navel oranges. They call these navel oranges because just like the belly on your tummy, there's typically, and I don't see any good examples yet, but there's a little navel right there. The Valencia does not get that. Here's more of an outie. Here's a good outie. So that's the top. That's where it hangs from the tree, and this is the outie right there. And this is my buddy Manuel, who helps me keep my sanity here and helps me get everything done. Say hola, Manuel. Say hola.
Hola.
Hola. Okay. So we're picking oranges right now, mid-March. We're toward the end of the crop. And now when I bought the property, I bought it from a guy named Richard Larkey. This guy is a legend. He's an incredible person, one of my favorite people on earth, as is his wife, Joanne. Joanne was in charge of the Historical Society. She wrote a book on the horticultural heritage and agricultural heritage of this whole region. It used to be a apricot drying zone and a huge apricot production area. But as you can see, strangely, you wouldn't think that we'd have a commercial orange grove in Northern California. This is 55 miles from downtown San Francisco, but it's a world apart in climate. We have the Napa Mountains off in the distance, over there, and we're on the backside of that. That's a rain shadow effect. We get extremely hot, extremely dry here, and that air descends over the top. It's not uncommon to have 110, 115 degrees out here. And so Mr. Larkey actually grew up at, guess where, if you know Walnut Creek, Larkey Park. Because he was a Larkey and he was living at his house, which was a ranch his parents had, or grandparents, and that's where he grew up. So I played there a lot when I was a kid after it was a park. Didn't play with Richard because he's about 40 years older than me. Anyway, he held on to this property as long as he could. It just got to be a little bit of a chore. It still is for me. But, I took over from him. He had planted all these orange trees out here in the 70s and 80s, and now I'm the beneficiary of that. Now, when I first came out here, he told me that his oranges were the best, sweetest oranges in the world. And I thought, well, that can't be true, because everybody tells me the ones that I grow in Lafayette in my orchard are the best, sweetest oranges in the world. Look, here comes Manuel again. Yay. And so I kind of had a little debate with him and said, well, let's have a little taste off. And he's like, you'll lose. And I'm like, okay. And but the problem was it was June, and these oranges do not get ripe. They don't start getting ripe until January, maybe late December. And so a navel orange in late December here in California is going to be pretty tart and a little bit of sweet. And as it progresses through the season, it loses its tartness and becomes sweeter and sweeter, to the point like right now they're just all sweet and no tart. And so I had to wait a long 6 months before I could test Richard's theory and to see if his oranges were sweeter than mine. And lo and behold, I couldn't believe it when Christmas rolled around and I dug into my first orange. It was unreal. So, here it is, right here. Okay, I'll open it up for you so you can see. Most sane people would have a knife. I don't. So I got inspired to make a video for you here. Now, these oranges were just like insanely sweet. I've not tasted anything like that. Maybe those little fake orange jujube things they used to sell with the sugar on them when you were a kid that looked like an orange slice. That's about how sweet they are, but this is perfectly natural. No sugar added. So, what's going on? Why is this orange just absurdly sweet? And over the years, here, when I saw his trees originally, I was like, damn, dude, I don't know how sweet your oranges are, but your trees sure are ugly. Those are ugly trees. They just don't look good at all. There's all kinds of dead wood in them and not a lot of, canopy. And I took one look at his trees and say, my trees are way prettier than yours, and so my oranges must be sweeter than yours. That's a fallacy. So the most beautiful oranges of all, most beautiful orange trees, they're super happy, right? Like happy cows. What do happy cows make? Make really good milk, right? Well, that's not so true with plants. If there's anything you know about stress grown, a lot of grapes are stress grown. They're grown in really austere, tough conditions, and the grapes end up smaller, and the skin is like tougher, but it makes for an amazing, really tight, complex flavored grape, and they make really expensive wines out of stress-grown grapes. Very low yield, like the juice per acre is much lower than a typical, place where they have really good soil. And typically rocky soil regions create austere-grown plants as one of the strategies to austere grow a grape. So here we have the same type of rocky soil out here. You can't see it because it's all grass now, but this is historic riverbed, flooded out places where you find, if you dig holes here, you find nothing but like rounded rock of all sizes. And the dirt itself is a red clay. Now, what I've kind of come to the conclusion of, knowing all about rock, we have lots of different type of rock in this medley here. More diversity of rock in one place that I've ever seen. And I think what's going on, I know that rocks have lots of minerals in them, especially when you have a high diversity of rocks. So just pretty much every mineral is out here. And we have a low fertility soil with high mineral content. And it gets to be super, super hot because, like I said, we're in this ridiculously dry zone on the backside of the Napa Mountains. Okay, so you got to keep that in mind. And when you get those conditions where it's really, really hot, we get a good bite of cold. It gets frosty out here every year. You basically stress grow the tree in soil that it doesn't really like. And the next thing you know, you have a stress grown tree that doesn't look very pretty at all. It almost looks like it's dying. And it's making tons and tons of oranges. And even the oranges themselves are not that pretty, but they are the sweetest oranges in the world. The other thing that's happening here is you'll notice with our oranges, they're almost impossible to peel these things because the skin is so thin and so toughly adhered to the fruit. I've found that oranges that are, the easier it is to peel, the worse it's going to taste. So these we slice through and eat these and also juice them as well. So here's the great kicker, is that if you live in the Bay Area, well, even if you don't, my kids ship these things around. You can see it's the end of the season because all the oranges down low are gone. Where my little minions who pick the oranges and sell them, even though I pay for the water, I pay for the fertilizer, I pay the property taxes, I pay for everything, I get nothing except free oranges. They actually make a bunch of money selling these things all through La Mirinda, Lafayette, Moraga, and Orinda. They'll actually hand deliver these things to your door if you want them. Look up altacrestfruitcompany.com and you'll see how to order there. We have all kinds of avocados, all kinds of good stuff. But if you don't live in those towns, we're going to start selling this stuff at my nursery, Golden Gate Palms, over in Richmond at 425 Cutting in Richmond. And we'll have these things all the time. And if you feel like you just have to have more than that, You can actually come up to my ranch and stay here for Airbnb. It's gonna be really awesome. I think I mentioned my baseball field over that way. Maybe I didn't. I have a baseball field I built, and over there we'll have oranges pretty much all year because those are summer ripening Valencia oranges over there. That's the home run fence. We have palm trees as foul poles. It's a real fun place to come. You know, we don't, get some cold beer up here on a hot day, get your baseballs out. But anyway, it's just beginning to be the bloom season here. You can see the buds with all those little spots there. Those are the blooms that'll be coming out. And these are oranges that were born on the plant, probably about 11 months ago. And so that's the story. Now you know stress-grown plants can make for ugly plants and even uglier fruit, but they can make for a super delicious product. And now you know you can come buy them from Golden Gate Palms. We'll have all these down there. And I want you to come down here and tell me, try this fruit and tell me it's not the sweetest orange you've ever had in your life. And I'm gonna end the video by being just a complete pig. It is amazing. Look at the juice. Look at all this juice. So good. Come on down and get one. Woo!